And welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Peter Winick. I'm the founder and CEO of Thought Leadership Leverage. And you're joining us on the podcast today, which is Leveraging Thought Leadership. And today, my guest is Karen Yankovich. Karen's the president of Uplevel Media. She is also the host of a podcast, Good Girls Get Rich. She's a popular trainer and international speaker, and focuses on social media advice and LinkedIn evangelism, social media consultancy, etc. Welcome aboard, Karen. Thanks for coming on board today.
Thanks, Peter. It's great to be here. Nice to have a chance to chat with you.
Yes. So here we go. So everybody, or I shouldn't say everybody, but more people than not that I talk to these days are confused with, struggling with, trying to deal with how to effectively use social media for their business objectives. And then, sub to that is obviously LinkedIn. So that's your lane, that's your sweet spot. Talk to me about it from the perspective of I'm an author, I'm a thought leader, I'm a speaker. What are some of the do's and don'ts, and what are some of the benefits?
Great question. So, one of the first do's and the most important do is like, what's your why, right? Why are you there? There's usually multiple whys. So, there are first of all, let's talk about social media. The word social is in there. So it's a conversation. It's not just about throwing out content. You've really got to be ready to be on the other side of that conversation, looking for conversations and being ready to have those conversations. That being said, if you're building it as a platform, for example, you'll probably have multiple whys. So as an author, one of your whys might be to have a big audience, which a big audience isn't necessary for everyone. Absolutely not. And we'll talk about that in a second. But as an author, you want to get hired to speak and you want people to carry your book and you want to be seen as an influencer. Part of your social media strategy is going to be, how do I get a big audience? How do I grow a ton of followers? Twitter is a great platform for that. Most people that quote authors and quote people in the media, they attach their Twitter handle to it. So you may want to be looking at Twitter, and while you absolutely can use Twitter to also drive traffic to your website and drive sales of your book, that might be a place where you're going to be really focusing on because you want to have a big audience, right?
Got it. But let me just clarify. When you say the why, I because I'm sort of a dorky consultant, convert that into goals and objectives. Is that an interchangeable?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Okay, so I just want to be clear there because I think what happens often is, like any other initiative or any other investment that you make as a business person, and you're all business people, if you don't have the goals, you're going to get there pretty quickly, right? So the why is, build your audience, generate your leads, differentiate, sell books, whatever. So talk to me a little bit about what some of those multiple whys would be.
Yeah. So that goal that I just mentioned to you, which growing a big audience and having being seen as an influencer, I don't know about you, but I haven't heard any money in there yet, right?
Yeah.
Um, so 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 that might be a part of and obviously there's indirect money in that. If you get paid to speak, either you're going to get paid to
Sure,
speak or you'll
sure.
get gigs while you're there, right? But I really like to focus on like, where's the real money, right? How do you build a foundation for your business so that you can do all the fun play with podcasts, play with books, and all those other things that are that indirect income stream, right? So for me, that's why I focus on LinkedIn, because I think there are a couple of things happen there. So if your goal using social media is marketing to grow profits in your business, that there's a few things you need to do. I'm going to say 9 out of 10 times, it might even be 99 out of 100 times. Most people that are coaches or authors or consultants, I mean, unless you're selling widgets, right? Most of our business is service based. So we need to get on the phone with people. We need to get we need to have sales conversations with people. So you would be using social media to drive those sales conversations. I had a conversation yesterday with a prospect who has an investment product and it's a $50,000 buy-in. And she's like, well, I want to do a webinar and I want to do this. I was like, hold the phone. Who's giving you $50,000 from a webinar? At the end of the day, you got to get on the phone with them. So why are we even putting the webinar in the mix? Why not just use LinkedIn? Target your audience, be really clear about your brand, target your audience, and then look to get on the phone with them.
So that, I mean, what you said there is brilliant because it's about aligning the right tactic with the right offering and the right strategy, right? So selling something online might work for a book or a, $99 something or whatever. Nobody's clicking away and taking out their
Right.
Amex for 50
Or
grand. It's not
five
going to
grand
happen in this
or
life.
even a
It's just
grand,
not.
I
Right.
mean,
Right. So then the whole point is you short circuited this whole web piece and say, well, let's use LinkedIn. Let's find out who your buyers are and let's go directly with them with the intent of not getting them on the webinar, but getting them on this antiquated device called a
Yes.
telephone, which
Yes.
is more effective, the better tool to use if you're trying to sell someone one on one on a $50,000 solution. So I love the right modality for the right product and the right tactic to support the strategy because oftentimes people are using sort of the Chinese menu approach of, well, that I like that tactic over there, so I'll do that, and a little bit of this over there, and it's like, whoa, that's not going to work.
Well, and you know what, Peter? That's why I start with LinkedIn because I want my clients to have a nice, cushy 5-figure a month base of income. So then we can talk about promoting their podcast and promoting their book and creating a program that's maybe more leveraged. But you got to get that nice, solid base of income first. And if you're going to use social media to do that, that's where I lean to LinkedIn. Then, now all of the other stuff supports that, by the way.
So but let's jump on LinkedIn for a second though. So I want to jump on LinkedIn for a second because we for ourselves use LinkedIn a bit, and I was very reluctant to do that 3 or 4 years ago when we started. Right, outbound marketing, ew, that's gross. Like that, we don't. I don't need to do that. We have a brand, and we get referrals, and we're a little bit, sort of a certain level, and. So number one, I got over myself, and we started to do it, but I made a list of things that I never, ever, ever want my company or my brand to look like on LinkedIn in terms of the info marketing, the irrelevance, the just grossness, the tackiness. And I said, wait a minute, actually, when we get to the right people with the right message, we can do great things. And we applied that to LinkedIn and it's worked wonders for us. But tell me the things that I should consider when going into LinkedIn and what works and what doesn't work and how you can really screw up your brand and how you can do nice things.
So the first thing you need to do is work on your profile. You absolutely have to have a great LinkedIn profile. You have to position yourself as if you're worthy of their investment. And that only you can do that, right? No one's going to think you're better than you say you are on your LinkedIn profile. So you really have to be confident and have a great profile. Um,
And don't use your Match.com.
yes, exactly.
Right? How many times do you see that? Your head rolling.
Exactly, exactly. But here's the thing too. This next piece is a mistake that so many people make. Don't be reactive to building your network. Be proactive in building your network. Think about who are the buyers, who are the people that can bring profit and value to your business and go after them. Not in a spammy, cheesy late night TV sales kind of way, but in a, hey, we're both in the same industry or we have a lot of common connections and I like to get to know people in my industry, whatever that is, something personalized in a way that can then be pasted and copied and pasted, by the way, to all of the people in that search, but be proactive and imagine if in 6 months you've got a network full of buyers when you're ready to roll out a program for something, right? But that comes next. Be proactive, constantly be building out your network.
So wait, let me. You're giving us so much so quickly, so I want to slow it down for a second because I want to unpack some of that. So even the build your network, I think there are people that are operating from the wrong playbook. Is probably a nice way to say it. Where oh, just a contact's a contact's a contact. Well, no, not all people are created equal. You have to have be thoughtful around who you want to reach. What are your client avatars, right? And then one of the beauties of LinkedIn is you can find people that look exactly like the people you want to interact with. So don't I get solicited on LinkedIn for things that are so just ridiculous based on who we are and what we do. Do you want to outsource your supply chain? I don't have a supply chain. Do you want to outsource your call center? I don't have a call center.
I know. Or how many times have you got I can help you with your retirement plan? Like investment advisors are the worst on LinkedIn. There's such a great way to it breaks my heart a little bit when I have a client that is in that industry and is trying to stand out from that crowd.
Yep. So, but give me a sense of sort of the pre-work. So before you start building your network, you have to be able to identify what would hey, it's a year from now. What would I love that network to be rich in? What should it how should it be?
All right, so can I give you I can give you a personal
Yeah, totally.
example. I'm in New Jersey, and in
Sorry to hear
December
that.
of 2018, I'm going to be speaking.
From New York.
Hey, nothing better. Um, I'm going to be speaking at the Triple Play Conference, which is New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania
Okay.
Association of Realtors come together. There's about 8,000 realtors there. I've known for months that I'm going to speak there. So I have been loading my LinkedIn network with realtors in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania because I want to make the most out of every minute I'm at that conference. Okay. So I'm saying, hey, I like to be connected to other local business professionals. I'm not saying because you're a realtor and I want you to buy my stuff. I'm saying, hey, I'm in New Jersey, you're in New Jersey, and I don't think I've even hit New York and Pennsylvania because there's just plenty right in New Jersey. And I just say, let's be connected. And then I really do, there's more to that. But so I've been building that network. Now that the conference is about 6 weeks away or 8 weeks away, I'm now what I'm doing now, and this tactic right here is probably my secret sauce tactic. I'm endorsing them all. I'm just going back to that network of realtors, my first degree connections, and I'm just endorsing them for real estate, for short sales, for sales. And that right there, now I'm just providing them value. I'm not selling them anything, right? I'm just providing them value. I'm saying, hey, kudos on being a great realtor,
So that's going to get their attention because now all of a sudden, this contact of mine, who I may or may not know or even remember they connected you, all of a sudden Karen said something nice about me. Like, wow, that.
Exactly. Exactly. So I want them to start recognizing my name. What I'll do in a couple of weeks, when it's 2 or 3 weeks before the conference, I'll start messaging them all and say, hey, are you going to be at the Triple Play conference? I'm going to be there. I'm doing these 2 talks. I'd love to see you at one of them. I've got a booth. Here's my booth number. Definitely come by and let's meet. I would love to meet my LinkedIn connections in person. Right. So I'm giving them, I'm doing it in a just let's get to know each other kind of way. I'm at that convention because I want business. They know that. I'm on LinkedIn because I want business. They know that too, but I'm not pitching them. I'm just saying, let's get to know each
Okay,
other.
but you've also increased your odds of success because if you're investing in the booth and you're investing in going there, obviously
Yep.
you're not there
Yep.
for your health, which is cool, right? But now let's say there are, I don't know what the number is, 50 or 100 people that you reached out to. There might be a dozen or 15 that come over and you get the warm hug because there's a
Exactly.
warmth there,
Exactly.
right? There's a pre-existing like, oh, that was so kind of you. That was so oh, what are you doing? Here's your
Right.
tell me more.
Exactly.
Like
By the
so
way, there's 800. I looked today because I started the endorsing today. There's 800,
wow. Oh
right?
my
So, and I have my assistant and I'll get some help. I'm not sitting here doing all this manually. But here's
yeah,
the
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that
yeah.
booth, what I'm doing at the booth, again, not selling, providing value. I've got my team there and we're going to be doing LinkedIn profile reviews. So I'm like, hey, my message will be stop by my booth. We'll take a look at your LinkedIn profile and give you some tips so that you can maybe get some more business from LinkedIn. So it's just serve, 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 serve. But I'm using LinkedIn as the vehicle to develop the relationship.
So that's another piece of what you said that resonates very much with me. It's this giving, right? So all of a sudden, one of the things I find offensive when it's done poorly is here's a random interaction with someone that I don't know, and at first shot they're asking me for something. Like, like whoa, like that's not how it works in the real world. Like prove you're worthy, give me something, throw out a nugget, reviewing someone's LinkedIn. You provided value, then I can determine if I want to have the conversation, if you can help me, if I would hire you, and all those other things. But when unless you're selling Girl Scout cookies door to door in a uniform, you don't have a right to ask me first.
Yeah, exactly. And I often flip that on my customers that because even like, even my customer, like a lot of people when we do LinkedIn profiles, in their profile, a lot of people use, here's my phone number, call me and let's have a consultation. And I'm not going to do that, but have you ever picked up the phone and called somebody because they said in their LinkedIn profile, hey, call me? Have you ever gotten a phone call from someone that said, hey, I saw you were on LinkedIn and you said to call you, so I'm calling you. What'd you have for breakfast, right? Like we just don't do that. So put yourself in the position of somebody else reading your profile. Would you take that action? Maybe the action needs to be tinier. Maybe it needs to be, hey, I've got a free PDF for you to dip your toe into this, just to get them to know you and again, providing value.
And you got to do that at every step of the way. And it doesn't mean that it's not mutually exclusive to provide value and to be, selling in a
Absolutely.
social way, right? Those are not
Yeah.
mutually exclusive things.
Absolutely. Because I want them, all of that comes down to all of that work I've done around this conference comes down to I want business from that conference. I want business and I'm actually putting together a special realtor package just for that conference, and by the way, it's stuff I already have. I'm just repackaging it, and putting the name realtor on it. And, I'll do a couple extra trainings on that's specific to them. And I know that it's good for them. Right. So and I'm saying this because this is what I mean about the social piece. For sure, I love Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and there's lots of great ways to use that. But those are more about list building, right? Build your list, get them in the top of your funnel, get that visibility, funnel them onto your email list, and then you'll start when you're ready to start, making those bigger offers or get the book out or get that other stuff out, then you'll have a bigger email list and that's going to be more effective for you. I'm not going to say you're not going to get clients from there directly, but don't be going for the gold there. Go for the gold on LinkedIn and use the rest to build your platform.
So go a little bit deeper there because again, it's about alignment of tactic to strategy. So if the strategy is I want to, find new clients, right? I want to acquire certain types of clients. LinkedIn works in one way. That's a direct ask, right? And oftentimes what I've seen is people say, "Oh, well, it worked on LinkedIn. Let me go sort of move on over to Instagram." People don't have conversations on Instagram, right? The direct message or whatever the language is for that. That's not where it happens. People go on Instagram and they're scrolling through as they're online at Starbucks and looking at images and chuckling and blah 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 blah. But how do you help clients decide where to invest their time and energy in terms of the other social pieces, because there is a sort of more macro ecosystem interconnectedness? So can you talk to that for a moment?
Yeah. Well, the number one thing I ask them is, where do you like to hang out? If you hang out on Pinterest, let's talk about Pinterest. If you love Twitter and you're out there tweeting, about every current events and football game and everything you're doing, then let's focus on Twitter. If I say to you, you need to be on Twitter and you hate Twitter, you're going to do a terrible job there. So I kind of start with, where do you like to be? Where do you like to hang out? I mean, of course, we need to worry about where our customers are. If your customers are extraordinarily corporate and you're not going to be you're not really going to be reaching out to them on Facebook, because you don't really know what they're doing. The beauty of Facebook, beyond the connecting, is their ad platform. So I'm
Okay,
not
so talk
saying
about
I'm
that.
not saying that because I think everybody here should be investing a ton of money in Facebook ads. I'm saying it because at some point you may want to do that. And if you and it's because you can target down to, they have a dog that's 10 pounds, that's white, that is 3 years old. I mean, you can target so specifically. So at some point you may want to be doing that, and you need a Facebook business page to be doing that. So so if there's ever a part of you that thinks that that's ever going to happen, then you really need to be using a Facebook business page. You need to be doing it legitimately, right? Not, don't use your personal profile, use your business page. I know you're not going to get as much reach there, but there's lots of ways to get reach there. And it comes down to, at the end of the day, Peter, it really comes down to, once we pick the platform, I want you to dive deep into that one platform. I don't really want you to be everywhere. So I would
And there is no one size fits all to that, right?
exactly.
So depending on the business that you're in or the clients that you serve, so realtors, I imagine, because and I'm making an assumption that's a residential realtor, probably would do better on Facebook than LinkedIn because they're dealing with
Yes.
people and their homes and families and schools and kids and all that stuff.
Yep.
But if you're in, B2B selling, I don't know, phone systems to businesses, LinkedIn's probably a better play. And it's not that it's right or wrong.
LinkedIn, and maybe even Twitter, because there are a lot of businesses on Twitter, you know. But for yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And I'm not going to say that a realtor can't do well on Twitter or
Of
Instagram, because
course,
they
right.
absolutely can. But that's why I say, where do you like to spend your time? And then, understand. I mean, if we're going to stick with the realtor kind of analogy, I tell realtors, just have your phone in your hand all the time, and don't be afraid to go on video. Go live video. Imagine if you, the realtor, go into the new pizzeria that just opened up in town. Everybody in town wants to know about that new
Right,
pizzeria.
right.
You turn your camera on, you interview the owner, you interview the chef. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to try this eggplant pizza. It looks amazing. Tell me why you picked this town. Tell me, like, ask them a few questions. You put it on your page. Everybody else is going to want to watch that, right? Like, you're a member of the community. As a realtor, you want to bring the community together. And there's so many easy ways to do that on Facebook, right? So if you're doing that consistently, people are going to be sharing your page and commenting on those things. And, you can maybe even say, tell them Karen sent you and you'll get $1 off your first pizza. And, I mean, there's just so many ways that you can make that work for you. But it's about that, building the relationships on those individual platforms as well, and understanding what your audience wants. What are their pain points? What's the transformation you provide for them? And going into those platforms with that thought in mind. It's more about transformation, not information.
And that's you. So this has been phenomenally informative, right? So lots and lots and lots of information. I need to go back and hear it again, right? So
Good, good.
this is great stuff. And I think the bottom line is, it's you got to have a strategy. You got to figure out who your market is, where they are, and how to best communicate with them. So these are universal marketing principles that haven't changed, right? And I think people get afraid with social because they think it's a millennial thing, or they haven't done it before, or that the basics that went into an impactful or effective direct mail campaign back in the day hadn't
Yep.
changed. Who's your market? How do you get to them? How do you get to them cost effectively, etc. Social changes the game because it brings that cost on a variable basis down to almost zero, right? But you have to be careful and not screw your brand along the way, because I can't tell you how many solicitations I've gotten that are just so thoughtless that it's filed somewhere in my brain of, if that organization ever reaches out to me again, they're not worthy of my responding to, because they're so scattered about and how they think and market and all that. So anyway, as we wind up, how do people get in touch with you? So how do we find out where the best eggplant pizza in New Jersey is?
Yeah, so connect with me on LinkedIn. That's always my favorite. I'm at Karen Yankovich across all social media. So I'm linkedin.com/in/Karen Yankovich. My website, KarenYankovich.com. And I'd love for you guys to listen to my podcast, Good Girls Get Rich. And you find that at goodgirlsgetrich.com.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. I appreciate all that you've shared with us, and I'm going to actually go back and listen to it again, because I was taking notes as I was talking, and I think there's a lot to learn here. Thank you so much for joining us today, Karen.
Oh, thanks for having me here. It's been fun.
To learn more about Thought Leadership Leverage, please visit our website at thoughtleadershipleverage.com. To reach me directly, feel free to email me at peter@thoughtleadershipleverage.com. And please subscribe to Leveraging Thought Leadership on iTunes or your favorite podcast app to get your weekly episode automatically.